Hard Rock. I had never think I'd ever been at Hard Rock definitely not as a player or as a fan or anything like that in my entire life. Until we got down there, I think the first time I was ever even stepped foot into Hard Rock would have been probably the end of summer when we do some like workouts up there, and then camp scrimmages and whatnot that we had in Hard Rock, and then obviously all the games. But it's been great. It's been an unbelievable experience, and Hard Rock as a stadium is great. The fan presence and everything that comes with that has been awesome, and I'm looking forward to it again this Saturday.
Okay, and then the other thing is, you're probably as close to him as anybody, Tyler. How's he doing? It's been tough. Just he had to come in suddenly last week on the road against number 4, and now he's playing. He's been chosen as the starter for number 9. How is he?
He's good, Tyler. And last week, with what happened, he responded extremely well. He responded how I and everyone thought he would respond. Mature, never wavered in his confidence. He's been a great teammate the whole time. Still, maintained the leadership that he had throughout the whole rest of the season up until that point last week. It wasn't any different guy. Obviously, that is tough last week, but the way he responded was extremely mature and exhibited a lot of leadership and the type of guy he is. And, this week, we're leaning on him and we trust him. And, right, regardless of who's back there playing quarterback, as an offense, as a team, we're all confident in whoever's back there, and we're extremely confident in Tyler as well.
Thank you.
Let's go to Matt Shodell next. Matt?
Yeah, hey, Matt. So a little bigger picture than just Tyler, but, it was a tough loss. You guys have had 2 overtime wins and 4 losses the last 6 games. And I know that, you in particular wear your heart on your sleeve. So can you sort of sum up, your mindset, the team's mindset right now? Is it still, just sort of that nose to the grindstone type deal? Do you have team meetings to talk about it? Like, how do you guys sort of handle this right now?
Yeah, it still is grind, every day. Obviously, last week and any loss is frustrating for everybody in the building, the players, the coaches, everybody that's involved. You do everything all year, all week, and on Saturdays to do one thing, and that's win. So, having what you said in that 6-game stretch is frustrating with only 2 wins. Absolutely, and everybody feels that a little bit, but the way that we are as players, the coaches are, and how just the football world, what it is you move on really quick. I was frustrated Saturday night coming back from Tallahassee, but Sunday morning I woke up and it's okay. Well, we play Louisville in a week, in less than a week, right? And now especially less than a week on Saturday. So you have a really short memory, and anybody would agree with that among anybody that plays, coaches football at any level. Especially I know the guys in here agree with that. We do have our leadership council meetings every Monday, and what's said in there is said. It's all kind of big picture, different guys' ideas. Sometimes it's with coaches, sometimes with Coach Chris Ball, sometimes it's just us talking. But irregardless of any of that, it's we got to play a football game on Saturday, so you got to move on fast and you got to get ready to play, and that's what the preparation all week is for. And I know the team morale and the coaches' morale has not wavered one bit since last week or since the week before, since week 1. We've been able to maintain a high level of confidence and positivity and morale every single day, because that's how we got to do it.
Next, we'll go to Adam Lichtenstein. Adam, go ahead.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Good.
Good. So I was just asking Kiko kind of a similar question, but, you play on the line, obviously, with Francis Maui-Noah. How have you seen him grow? Now he's coming kind of towards the end of his first year of college.
When Francis came in, he was already showed a bunch of promise, and physically and mentally was already way ahead of where he would be. But now that he's played, started in 10 games, it's a whole different world from week 1, physically, especially mentally, right? And Coach Mirabal will say it sometimes, and I would concur with it that once a true freshman is, once he's starting games, and especially 10 games into a season, he's no longer a true freshman. He's a veteran. He's almost started an entire season, and he's played really, really well, regardless of his age, especially for being an 18-year-old true freshman. He's had a hell of a year, and every game you see him grow and develop. Whether that's just different technically or how he's reacting to different things. Every week is different schematically, so every defense throws a little bit different things at you. which can mix things up any given game, any given week. But CC's done a great job of responding and continuing to stay positive and really mend his development as the years gone on. And that's not going to waver either. He's going to continue to do that as time goes on in the offseason and the next season. And as special as CC already was months ago or the beginning of this year or week one, he's just continued to be on an uphill.
Next, we'll go to Andrea Adelson. Andrea, go ahead.
Hey, Matt, I wanted to ask you a follow-up to what Susan had asked you. Have you kind of sensed the team and yourself and others on offense rally around Tyler as he's gone through this tough stretch and just reminding him, we got your back and we have faith and belief in you?
Absolutely. And that starts with, first off, the veterans that start, and then, just starters in general, guys that are out on the football field and kind of the leaders of the team. But from the moment that last week it had occurred with Tyler, and to this day now, and Tyler is starting. Absolutely, we've all rallied around him and tried to instill as much confidence and trust in him as we can, because he's playing quarterback, and Tyler's a hell of a football player now. Just because he has whatever a few weeks, blah blah blah, it doesn't change who he is as a player, as a guy. He's still the same dude he was week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. But absolutely, we've all started with the offensive line, and I know the guys out wide and the running backs, and guys on defense like James and Cam and Kiko, leaders on defense that have all done a great job of trying to bring Tyler up, even though he's shown a lot of maturity and hasn't really flinched based on what happened. Regardless of that, I think everyone's done a good job of trying to pull him up.
And you guys have faced a lot of really good defensive fronts this season. Louisville obviously plays really well in their front seven. How do they compare to maybe some of the other fronts you've faced so far this year?
Yeah, they're good. I mean, what are they, number 9, number 10 in the country ranked team? I know statistically between offense and defense, us and Louisville are very, very, very similar. Obviously, the records are different, but from a statistics standpoint, it's very similar in what our two teams are. They have a talented defense, talented front seven. I know, one of their defensive ends that'll come inside when they go down to Bear, number 9. He's kind of their guy, if you will. He's a really, really good player. I know they have a cornerback that's a really good player as well. His number escapes me, but I know he's really good. And overall, they're well coached. They have a really good defense. Their front seven is all big, strong, athletic guys, and schematically they play a sound defense. They know what they're doing. Every team's a little different. You can say a team like NC State runs a very complicated with the 3-3-5 and really trying to trick you a little bit more than other teams compared to like Florida State last week, which is going to run a lot of 4 down, a lot of base defense, maybe try to get you here and there on 3rd down and blitzes from a mental standpoint, but a lot of it's, hey, let's line up and play football. Say Louisville maybe is a little bit mix of that, with more of a simplistic defensive front. They run a lot of 4 down. They don't show much on at all, maybe unless it's 3rd down, and then they like to go, get into Bear front, stem into Bear, whether that's Bear stack and base downs, or that's Bear with 2 linebackers giving a short yardage, goal line, or 3rd down, whatever it may be, given the personnel and whatnot. But Louisville's not a defense that's going to try to throw your mental around a bunch, maybe a little bit, but they're going to line up and they're going to play good football, sound football. They're going to use their defensive linemen that are good football players or linebackers. They're going to try to shut down the run game with different stunts, and they run a solid defense.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to Brian London next. Brian?
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking the time. Can you talk about what is the mindset of the offensive line when you're going into a game and it's going to be a run-heavy game, and you got guys like Fletcher and Chaney that have been running down the hill and being tough runners? What is that mindset along the offensive line when you guys are going to have to open some holes for some guys, and that's going to be the kind of the process throughout the game?
It's the same that we've always had. I know since I got here, beginning of this year, that Coach Mirabal and Coach Cristobal and Coach Johnson has, always instilled in us is, Mirabal always says, hey, it's about us. It's a we thing. If we go, everyone goes. And when you can run the ball effectively, it makes a lot of things really, really easy. When you're running the ball effectively, like last Saturday, we were running the ball well, and Florida State had to account for that, which in theory leaves you open to have more mismatches. When you got to put 8-9 guys filling in the box, that's going to make it easier to pass the football and whatnot. and depending on the set you're in, you can run the ball against whatever defense they want to bring. But every single day, every single week, every single game, as a unit, us five and Coach Mirabal, we look at it as the offense is on us, right? If we block well in the run game, if we protect well, then we're gonna have offensive success, and it's more about us than anything, I think, and that's the way that Coach Mirabal always tells us. Regardless of who's the quarterback, whether that's Tyler Emery, whoever that may be throughout this year and then in the future, it's we got the same mindset every week. No matter who's back, it don't matter what we're calling. We're gonna try to impose our will on every single defensive front, which I think, as a unit, I don't think we've met a D-line front seven yet this year that we haven't pushed around and really imposed on, especially in the run game and in the pass game. Just to be honest.
Thanks, Matt.
And we'll wrap up with one more from Susan. Susan, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Carter. Matt, last week you guys played the number 4 team in the nation. Now you're playing the number 9 team. Does it help when you go 2 games in a row like that? When you're playing harder teams and you meet another one, and is it way more fun?
I guess there's a little bit of a cool fun factor. You're playing a highly ranked team, but honestly, when it comes to defense class, obviously the team that's ranked higher, there's going to be a little bit probably better overall than another team. But I've played teams that have been ranked higher and had higher records than teams that are ranked lower and have records that you look at and from face value look like they're not a very good team, and they bring it more, and they play better. So, I think you could extend what you're saying back to NC State. I don't know what NC State's record is. I know they're not ranked, and they run a good defense. They have a good defensive line. They have good linebackers. Right? They're a physical football team. It was a 4-quarter game of physicality and getting after it. And then last week, same thing with Florida State. Right? They're number 4, so everyone looks at it like that. But they run a good defense. They have good defensive linemen, good linebackers, everything. And this week, same thing. Louisville 9-10, whatever they are in the country, run a good defense. They got good football players. And I guess in short, most teams in our conference and around the country that have legitimate guys and good coaches, they're all good. Maybe things stand out here and there. But regardless of it, I'm ready to play, whether there's the number 1 team in the country or the number 120, whatever teams are an FBS team in the country, honestly.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Matt. We'll see you Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.